The following is a sponsored program paid for by Robin Gwaltney Group, RE/MAX Results. Welcome to Rochester Real Estate, featuring Robin Gwaltney from Gwaltney Group RE/MAX Results and Andy Brownell. Here's Andy Brownell on Rochester's News Talk, 1340 KROC AM and 96.9 FM.
Good morning. Andy Brownell with Robin Gwaltney. Gwaltney Group RE/MAX Results on a Saturday. Welcome back, Robin. Good to see you again.
Nice to see you.
We are in the middle of what I refer to as awards season. In fact, tomorrow night it's the Oscars.
Yeah. And
you kind of had your own version of the Oscars.
Well, you know that my husband was one happy man when the Chiefs won the Super Bowl.
Oh, that's right.
Not just my husband, but we have a couple of other team members. Both Branton and Michael are from Kansas originally. So Scott, Branton, and Michael are all originally from Kansas. So they're huge Chiefs fans.
Well, they deserved it.
Did you
It was a good game.
Did you see our Gwaltney Group commercial during the Super Bowl? It was quite a bit before, like a half hour before the game started.
No, I started right.
Oh,
I even missed the national anthem.
Well, shame on you. But yeah, the commercial was super cute. It was all of the kids of the Gwaltney Group team. And that, when we were shooting that commercial, that was like herding cats.
I
there
bet.
were kids going everywhere. But it just so happened that we had each one of the kids that were passionate about a team, which really means their parents are, do the whole go Chiefs or go Packers or whatever it was. And so when the Chiefs actually made it to the Super Bowl, then Branton's kids got that little spiel got put in their commercial, so they got to go Kansas City, and they were so excited. So
They've been brainwashed.
Yeah, they're brainwashed is right. But yeah, so that was fun. That was the start of the awards for us, right?
Right, it's a long time since Kansas City has been there too.
Yes, absolutely. Well, never in Branton or Michael's lifetime, but once in Scott's.
Yep.
Anyway, so we were a happy bunch, and then as if that wasn't enough for us to celebrate, last Friday night was the RE/MAX Results Awards, and boy, they are something else. Talk about, you say the Oscars, that's about how they treat us, They put on a great big award ceremony up at the Hilton in Minneapolis, and, just class act. Everybody was all dressed up in their fancy clothes.
Yeah, the red carpet.
Oh, yeah, of course. So, yeah, it was really awesome, and I was just so proud and excited because our brokerage, RE/MAX Results, was once again the number one RE/MAX brokerage in the country. So, not only do we work for
That's amazing.
I mean, it's awesome. So not only do we work for the most recognizable brand worldwide, then for the best franchisee owner of that brand, and our office in Rochester is his most productive office of all the offices. And then our team was number one team again. So, I feel pretty excited about that.
So we get to cheer on Minnesota as a whole.
Yeah.
And Rochester, the Rochester area again.
That's right. So pretty proud to be we were the number 3 team in the company, but the other 2 teams are, their area is the metro area. So that makes us the number 1 team in Rochester and actually all of southern Minnesota. So it's a lot to be proud of.
Congratulations to you and everybody on the team.
Everybody on the team. It takes the team. Yeah, that's for sure.
You have packed a lot into the last couple of weeks.
Well, isn't it hard to believe that we're already 1 week done with February?
I don't.
I mean, here we go.
Let's socialize this weekend.
Yeah, I know you told me you haven't been there, but I hope you get down there because we were one of the photo op sponsors. So there's this really cool ice sculpture about, 5-6 feet tall. It's a big house and it says Gwaltney Group RE/MAX Results, and there's a picture frame. So it's been fun because I've had clients since Thursday, since it started, taking their pictures in the picture frame and texting them to me. And
so it's an ice picture frame.
It's an ice sculpture picture frame.
Wow,
yeah.
okay.
It's really cool down there this year. I mean, it just gets better and better every year. We spend a lot of time, you and I, talking about how this Rochester Downtown Alliance has really spruced things up. And my hat is off to those people because they're doing a fantastic job.
And they added a tent this year.
Yeah.
So if the wind does blow, you can get out of the wind.
Yeah, it's cool. It's really nice.
It looks like the forecast says tonight, which will be the last night for it, the weather will hold off.
Right. So if you haven't been there, I mean, not only for our sculpture, but for all the cool ice bars and all the work that's gone into it and a different DJ every night. And I mean, it's a huge success. It's really cool. Something fun to do in the dead of the winter.
Oh, yeah. Thank goodness that there is a break in the winter.
Yep.
We have to embrace and celebrate it.
That's right. Well, there's nothing else we can do unless get on a plane and fly out. Now, with everything that's going on, I don't even know if I want to get on a plane and go anywhere.
Oh, yeah, you got off the cruise ship at the right time, that's for sure.
Didn't we?
Of course, your cruise ship didn't make it all the way to China, so you're probably all right.
But people, it's the passengers that come from other places.
Oh, that's true. I got to think about that.
That's what it
they
is.
fly in and get on the ships here. Oh, boy, oh, boy. Well, let's talk about cheerier subjects like real estate.
Yeah, it's always a good subject to talk about. What's your favorite show this week, Andy? Because it's time for our Rochester market report.
I have the data.
Yep, so we have the data.
And this is from last month, January.
Yeah, so this came out on the 3rd of last Monday, 3rd of February, and it's to summarize how things looked in January.
Does anything jump out at you right away?
No. Let me read a little bit of it. Currently, there are 188 sales pending in the market overall, leaving 250 listings still for sale. The resulting pending ratio, 42.9%. So basically, that pending ratio indicates the supply and the demand of the market, right? So specifically, a high ratio means that listings are in demand, quickly going to contract. A low ratio means not enough. So we're, right there in the middle.
We're still not balanced.
Yeah, still pretty balanced. If we take a closer look, we can see that the 200 to 300 price range has most of the contracts pending. 300 to 400 also has a relatively large amount, I think 50 of them. And the median list price in that group was $376,400. So basically, the majority of the homes that were sold or went pending in January were listed between 200 and 400.
Okay.
So the only reason there wasn't anything below 200 sold is there wasn't anything to sell. Correct. And then again, when we get up into that higher range, those people are typically people that already live in Rochester and they're just doing a move up, to the next house. And because they're already here and there's no urgency, they don't typically pick the middle of the winter or the middle of the kids' school year. Right. Or, they kind of wait until, hey, kids are out of school, the weather's nice, let's make this move. I mean, they'll start looking soon and you'll see new houses coming on the market every day now, moving forward.
It's funny. I had a conversation with a person who they were moving up, not quite that high, but they were in the market now because they did not want to wait of what's coming.
Yes, they don't want to get into that mad bidding war nonsense. Yeah, it gets crazy. I mean, it honestly does. And I feel so bad. And I've told you before, I feel so bad for the buyers because they want a place so bad. But it's like you can only go so high because if you start to bid too high, you're making a really irresponsible financial decision. And in the end, you might be happy that you got that house. But in the end, when it all settles, the dust settles, you're going to realize, wow, we paid a lot for this house. So I always try really hard to tell people, let's not buy with your emotions. You might miss out on a few because of this multiple offer situation, but let's make sure you're getting a house that's worth what you're paying for it.
Learn to walk away if need be.
Yeah, it's hard.
But you've also told me when we've talked about how this all works financially that if you go up too high on the bid, the bank may not actually go along with your idea of getting a loan for that.
You are such a good listener.
So that means you're going to have to come up with the cash yourself to make up the difference.
Or the deal falls apart.
Or
there's some renegotiating done. So, I mean, I am very careful when I write an offer and I'm bidding over the asking price. I am very careful to say the house must appraise, okay? Because it's sort of a safety net, right?
Yeah.
But then what happens is I've now seen realtors that will rebut that with, if the house doesn't appraise, the buyer will be responsible for the difference.
Oh.
It's like treading on thin ice.
It's harder and harder to
make
the deal work.
Yeah, it's really crazy. So, I mean, that's where I come in my opinion. I have to really look out for the buyer's best interests and not let them do something that they're going to regret later.
Whoa, hold off here.
Correct.
This might not be the right one.
Correct.
It's interesting that you're in the middle of winter, you're seeing that already occur.
Yeah.
Not at that scale, obviously.
Yeah, but we are seeing
multiple
it.
bids.
I've had a few already, and I think, again, I hate to sound like a broken record, but we've had mild weather this winter.
Knock on wood.
I know, but, we
With
got
a storm
through January.
forecast for tomorrow.
Right, but we got through January with a lot of double-digit weather.
We did.
Even a lot of 20s, and it's like
30s even in there.
and not with a negative sign in the beginning. So it's like, we'll take it. And so the home showing actually didn't slow down too terribly much. A couple of weeks right there by the holidays, but, January, we're out busy.
And the stats kind of show that. We're going to continue talking about what's happening in the Rochester marketplace. Actually, what did happen in the month of January and looking forward with Robin Gwaltney, Gwaltney Group RE/MAX results, back in just a moment.
We'll be right back with Robin Gwaltney and Andy Brownell on Rochester Real Estate. This is News Talk 1340 KROC AM and 96.9 FM. Welcome back to Rochester Real Estate with Robin Gwaltney from Gwaltney Group RE/MAX Results and Andy Brownell on Rochester's News Talk 1340 KROC AM and 96.9 FM.
Good morning and welcome back. I'm Andy Brownell along with Robin Gwaltney, Gwaltney Group RE/MAX Results on News Talk 1340 KROC AM and 96.9 FM. We're going through some of what happened in the local real estate market in the month of January, which was remarkably busy for the dead of winter.
Exactly.
The other thing I get from this report, and it's not new, obviously, but I'm actually still astounded at how limited the inventory actually is.
Yeah, we'll start seeing that pick up now. A lot of people, make a conscious decision not to put their house on the market until the spring market kind of comes upon us, which you would think spring market, you might think March, but I always tell people more like the middle of February.
Okay, so we're almost there.
So there will be new houses coming on the market, and that's good because I have a couple buyers that I'm working with that have pretty much exhausted what's out there and haven't found what they're looking for. So we're looking forward to some new choices. So,
but it's from what I'm seeing here that you might not be seeing that what you had in the past, that advantage of jumping in when it's super, super hot. Maybe putting your house in the middle of winter is not such a bad idea.
Exactly. And like I have one that's going to be coming on the market. They thought, should we wait until March? I said, no. Let's just get the pictures taken and let's get it on the market. It's going to be, walkability to Mayo and downtown.
Oh, really?
And in that sweet spot, where it's affordable for a lot of people. I'm like, let's just get that baby listed and get it sold. So that's what our plan is.
Okay. I always like to check the median sales price, or what is the trend still higher on that?
Mm-hmm. We just keep edging up just a little bit.
Yeah.
Things just keep going up. We haven't seen prices drop at all, and I don't expect that we will. So I feel like, hopefully that price increase slows down a little bit so that we don't get ourselves in a hot mess of a market where it's already tough for some people to afford a house.
Right.
Thank God for the low interest rates because that's been our saving grace, and we've been able to still make the numbers work. But as prices go up, geez, it's hard to stomach when you think $300,000 is what first-time home buyers are looking at. Right?
Yes.
What happened to $75,000? And then when it went up to $89,000, and oh my gosh, first-time home buyers are spending $150. Now they're spending $200. Oh my gosh, now it's $250. It's like where will it stop? Right?
It's funny. I say I know for sure that I'm getting older when I tell somebody, when we built our house, we were able to build that house for less than $100,000, and they go, "No, you didn't."
Yeah, isn't that crazy?
That's impossible.
Now you can't even buy the lot to build it on.
No.
So yeah, prices have changed, but so has your income, and so have other factors, and it is tougher to swallow just looking at it on paper. But again, when you can get in there, I've seen some interest rates closing at like 3.25%. That's pretty darn affordable money. Well, even 3.5%, 3.625. There's nothing wrong with those interest rates.
And there's nothing to indicate from what I've read and seen that this market is going anywhere but up, which makes it a great investment.
Yes, it definitely is. Rochester is a very, very safe place to buy real estate. There is no doubt about that.
So in the winter, the one stat that it kind of stands out a little bit is the days on the market. It's a little bit longer. We talked off before the show that's kind of par for the course, right?
It is. And, like this was January, right? So those houses that sold in January had longer days on the market. Well, let's think about when those houses went on the market. They went on the market in November or December. So there was that mix
holidays.
of Thanksgiving, the mix of Christmas. And so that that extends the days on the market. So it doesn't necessarily mean that there was anything wrong with the market. It was just people were busy doing other things than buying houses.
And even that number is historically
still,
low.
Yeah, it's still really impressive. I agree with you. Yeah, our market is really rock solid, and it feels good to be a realtor in this kind of a market because I've definitely worked in not such favorable markets, and it's stressful. So this is fun. And
it's a good kind of stress.
It's a good kind of stress. That's exactly right. Pathetically enough, I told you this off air, but I'm not ashamed to share. My husband and I celebrated, I'll use that word loosely, our 35th wedding anniversary on Thursday. And we pathetically took the day to stay at home and finally take down 4 Christmas trees, pack all those decorations, get everything put back in storage, put the trees away. And it's like, my parents were appalled. They're like, you still have your Christmas trees up? And I'm like, I'm never home. It's that we work 7 days a week and 10 and 12 hours a day. And we've had that continuing ed cruise. And then we had that awards thing last weekend up in the cities. And I thought, okay, I've got unpacked suitcases on my bedroom floor and Christmas trees, and I'm sick of looking at all of it. So, that's how I spent my anniversary.
That's how you spend a romantic anniversary, cleaning up
that
the house.
That was it. But my house looks great. I feel good.
Oh, my goodness. That's funny. You've been doing this for quite some time in the Rochester market, and I always wonder, what kind of trends do you notice as far as what is desirable for the homes that we're seeing?
Yeah, that is really
quickly. Or
yeah,
not?
that's a really interesting question. When I first got in the market, 20 plus years ago, the high-end homes were those $500,000 homes in like Foxcroft and up at the top of Bailey Hills and some of those neighborhoods. And those neighborhoods are still very favorable and still have some beautiful homes, but it's no longer what we're considering our high-end markets, right?
Right.
Our high-end markets are now those houses that hover up between 800 and above, 800, $1 million, $1.5 million. It's crazy how the prices have gone up. But we've seen it from everybody wanting Pill Hill, Foxcroft, anything really close to Mayo, to then going to everybody wanting a while out. So they weren't right, work wasn't in their backyard.
Yep.
So maybe out at Mayo Woodlands or out at Weather Hill or, some of those newer neighborhoods. And now we've kind of seen people draw back in a little bit. I mean, people are still loving those homes, but I really do get a lot of people saying, is there anything where we could have an acre or two, but yet close to Mayo? Well,
no,
it doesn't really exist. I mean, and when you say close to Mayo, I have to remind people, actually had an incoming physician last weekend, and she goes, I want to be where I can walk to work. And I'm like, okay. She goes, but I want a new house. And I'm like, oof, that presents a challenge. So I said, why is it that you want to walk to work? I said, you'll have parking, right? And she said, yeah. But she goes, I just don't want to get stuck in traffic. I don't want to have a long commute. And I said, pretty much anywhere you buy in Rochester, you can count on leaving your garage and being parked at your desk in 20 minutes tops. She's like, oh, well, that changes things. So, I think people just don't understand that we really still don't battle traffic.
Right, we're still pretty spoiled.
Right. I mean, I always tell everyone it's like living in a small town in so many ways. But yet, we keep getting more awesome restaurants and more fun places to go and things to do. So we've got the best of both worlds.
And there's a lot of places where it's under 10 minutes to get downtown.
Exactly.
And park.
Oh yeah, I was giving her worst case scenario.
Right, if you're way out northwest, you might have to drive
so I'm
that
like,
far.
it doesn't even. So once she heard that, she was very happy, and yeah. Anyway.
All right. So location is always
Location is always seems like the number one thing that people are looking at,
right.
whether it's because of work or school or their recreation. But usually it's where do I want to live, and we start from there.
Start from there. Okay. We're talking with Robin Gwaltney, Gwaltney Group RE/MAX Results, about Rochester real estate. We'll be back in just a moment.
We'll be right back with Robin Gwaltney and Andy Brownell on Rochester Real Estate. This is News Talk 1340 KROC AM and 96.9 FM. Welcome back to Rochester Real Estate with Robin Gwaltney from Gwaltney Group RE/MAX Results and Andy Brownell on Rochester's News Talk 1340 KROC AM and 96.9 FM.
Good morning and welcome back. Andy Brownell with Robin Gwaltney, Gwaltney Group RE/MAX Results. Robin and I, we've been talking a lot about the coming spring market and how things will heat up. What do you do as a realtor to prepare yourself for the upcoming hot season?
Well, that's a good question. I make sure to not plan any kind of trips or, getaways. That's why I kind of do that in the winter time, right? And I make sure that I'm going to be here and be available, because it's really frustrating for buyers when something comes on the market and they got to get in it quickly and their agent might be unavailable because they're out of town or, something like that, and they miss out on a property. So I always make sure that when someone's going to be in town looking, I clear my schedule and I give them my undivided attention, especially when it's like we're going to have match day, right? And we're going to have those residents that come in and they're only here for a couple of days with a mission to get a house. So I don't spread myself too thin so that I can give them as much time as they're going to need, where they don't feel like I'm trying to rush them through. I'll make sure they get to see all the houses that they want to see, everything that's available, and really, take them around the town, show them, explain why they might like this neighborhood or what the shopping is, or, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And so I feel like the number one thing I do is make sure I'm here, I'm available, I'm rested, and I'm ready to go, right? And I've got that huge advantage, as you know, of having a whole team to back me up. So in the event that I do have something, my parents take ill and I have doctor's appointments or whatever, I've got my team so that my clients are never going to miss out on getting into a house the minute they want to. And I feel like that's a huge advantage for our buyers.
Oh, yeah. And I've heard the stories, from other members of your team, the extraordinary things that they do outside of what would normally be expected to make these things happen.
Yeah, we take this serious. It's clearly our passion, but it's also our business and our responsibility to our clients to do everything we can to put them in the best position to win.
So are a lot of the folks who are selling at this time during the big residency switch also residents who are moving on?
Exactly. So it can get tricky because, sometimes they're not ready to put their house on the market yet in the event that it's not a resident who buys it. Because if you have your house on the market in March, most buyers, especially if you're in that $200,000 to $300,000 price range, most buyers are going to want to get in there in the next 30 days, maybe 45, pushing it to 60. But most residents that are selling have to finish their residency. So they're here till June, and they're not interested in selling before that and living somewhere else temporarily. So it becomes a very, it's a balancing act. It is. So, it's ideal when the outgoing residents actually sell to an incoming resident, because then they're on the same timeline. Right. But in the event that they find somebody else that wants to buy their house, it can get tricky, but we always figure a way. We always figure it out. We can figure out, temporary housing for the one leaving or temporary housing for the one coming. I mean, we've done it enough times that it always works out in the end.
Figure out a way, make it happen.
Yeah.
So looking ahead to this, if I'm a person, I'm not a resident, but I'm thinking, well, maybe I want to jump into this red hot market. Mm-hmm. What should I be, even mentally preparing myself for to make it happen more smoothly?
Buy your house before match day, because then you're not.
So take care of your next house way before it even happens.
Yeah. So and it's not even way before, because match day is middle of March. So we're 6 weeks away from match day, but that still gives you 6 weeks to get out there and have that jump on those residents coming to town.
So get ahead of the game, in other words.
Get ahead of the game.
And that way the house that you're selling is also going to be able to be available right away, I suppose.
Right, because it's probably not a resident selling either at this point.
So you don't have to play the dance.
And, there are people who can wait, like they're living now in an apartment, and maybe their lease is up, but they can go month to month. So if they know that these people have to stay in their house till June, they just stay a few extra months in the apartment. Like I say, it always works out in the end. It really does.
Well, if you want to work it out, and you want to get into this market and maybe, as we were talking about, get your house before the mad rush begins, how do we get a hold of you, Robin, or somebody from your team?
Yes, I would absolutely love to help, as would any of the members of the Gwaltney Group. You can always go to our website, which is gwaltneygroup.com, or feel free to call me on my cell phone, which I always answer as long as I'm not talking to somebody else, and that's 507-259-4926.
All right, Robin, thank you very much. Have fun at Social Ice.
Thank you.
Okay, Robin Gwaltney, Gwaltney Group RE/MAX results on News Talk 1340, KROC AM, and 96.9 FM.